If you're a Tesla fanboy and Elon fanboy and you get really upset when someone says something about Tesla or Elon and get really offended, then go and write down below in my comment section about how much I'm wrong before listening to any of this video, because what I'm about to say is talk about some part shortages for Tesla, how it's really damaging customer service for the brand, and also how you as a customer will be paying far more for your car insurance compared to other cars. Now, I'm currently in a Tesla loaner vehicle because my car is currently with Tesla. So let me quickly tell you what's wrong with my car, because it's very important to the whole sort of video as we're moving forward. It's currently in for a PTC fault. That's the heater system on my Tesla is broken. I have no heating. Now, I first noticed the problem about Christmas, but I didn't report it in the app till the 29th of December. It was logged in the car log, so Tesla knew the fault was there, and I booked it in via the messaging app to let them know. It's still under warranty, and that's why it's going back to Tesla. I was asked for a courtesy car. I was told I couldn't have a courtesy car. I asked for an Uber back. I was told I couldn't have an Uber. I was told I had to wait in the showroom while the car was taken in for repair. Now, we'll get back to my car in a minute, but let's first talk about how part shortages has been a Tesla issue for quite some time, and it's now feeding into car insurance prices. I've got a few friends that have had renewals on Teslas and other cars that are electric, and the Tesla Model 3 long range, performance and standard have all got extraordinary high premiums, but we're going to compare it to a few other cars to give Tesla the chance against other EVs very similar, faster or different price ranges to see what happens. Now, one of my friends who I used for this case study, he got a quote, and by the way, he's about the average, so that's why I've gone for this one. His quote for his Tesla Model long range was £900, and I got a quote for a Tesla Polestar 2, similar specs, similar price, and that came in at £500. That's £400 cheaper. Now, for this example, I also got him to quote a BMW i4, a much more expensive car, and it's slightly quicker 0 to 60 than his long range Tesla. Now, I want to know in the comments below what you think the answer is. I'm not going to tell you until further on in the video, so go and leave the comment now below, pause the video, give me an idea of what you think the BMW i4 car insurance is against the Tesla Model 3. Now, after sitting at Tesla for 4 hours waiting for my car to be repaired, several wheeze and coffees later, I was told that the car was ready and outside the front of Tesla. Tesla service, if you don't know, is pretty much hands-free. You don't really talk to anyone. They tell you on your phone it's ready, you drop it off when you're there, you tell them it's there. You don't really need to speak to anyone there, so I basically dropped the car off, had my coffees, several wheeze, and got told the car was ready, went outside, 4 hours later, got in the car and started to drive home, expecting everything to be fixed. However, very shortly down the road, about a mile down, I realised that I could see my breath, and it was fogging up the window, and it was cold still. So naturally, I drove the car straight back to Tesla to say, hey, you've just been in for this PTC fault fix, and yeah, my car still broke. And they said, oh, well, we tried to carry out a repair on the PTC rather than fix the part, and obviously that hasn't worked. Is it just cold? Is it not working at all? I said, no, there is zero heat coming out of that car. Absolute zilch. It's not even less effective. It's just completely broke still. It's like they hadn't even checked it before I drove away. Now, let me know in the comments, do you feel that going in for a fault like that, they should have at least confirmed it was fixed or not fixed before telling me the car was ready outside? I mean, that for me is very poor customer service, but they said to me they couldn't get the car in for another week after, and that I'd have to bring it back then. Now, I knew the temperatures were going to hit -8 following that week that I was there, so I asked very politely if I could have a courtesy car. I was told, unfortunately, unlikely, so I had to kick up a little bit of a stink, not a huge stink, but a little bit of a stink that I thought it was unreasonable to be taking a car that I've just brought in for repair, waited 4 hours for, and then had to then bring it back, because the nearest Tesla centre is about half an hour, 45-minute drive away from me. So I've wasted basically 5-6 hours waiting at Tesla for this car. So I asked for a courtesy car, and eventually they agreed to give me one. It wasn't cleaned, it wasn't valeted, and it had minimal charge on, but I accepted that. It was the only thing they had in, and it was available, but so I just wanted to get out, I wanted to get home, I was tired, I was angry, and we agreed that the car would be booked in for a new heater part next week. Now, on the 26th of January, I received a message in the Tesla app, why I'm still currently using their loaner, to tell me that the car has no parts for it, for the heater, for another 3 weeks. So that'll be 5 weeks from my initial appointment and 7 weeks from when I initially reported it on the app. Now, I know Tesla are a next generation company. They know this car's under warranty. If they saw this PTC fault and I already booked it in, shouldn't the part have been pre-ordered ready for my appointment? I mean, it's ridiculous to think 7 weeks for parts, and it's ridiculous to even think 3 weeks from parts from the fifth week that I dropped it off. So it's almost 5 weeks since they've had the car to know that they needed the parts. Now, we need to put these figures into numbers because it's very, very important that we understand Tesla as a company. Tesla's 7-week part order for this PTC heater on a commonly known fault on these cars. So it's quite common. I know Cleveland EV have repaired quite a few here in the UK, and looking at forums online, it's quite a common part to fail. So you'd think they'd have some redundancy of having this part extra made for putting on shelves and stocking. Now, Tesla will make this year 2 million vehicles. To make 2 million vehicles and not have any spare parts is ridiculous. Now, this was a traditional OEM. Renault, Nissan, GM, they have franchise dealers. Now, franchise dealers will stock commonly faulted parts on their shelf in their showrooms, in their parts department, because they know that these parts are common and they know that the car is going to come in for repairs. Tesla doesn't do that, and Tesla doesn't do that because they're not a franchise. They own the whole network, and a lot of parts on their shelf is a lot of money out of their cash reserves. But to me, Tesla should be doing this. They should be stocking parts in the part department. Now, if this was a traditional OEM and they didn't have that part in the shelf of that franchise dealer, then the main dealer, the main OEM, would also have a part size full of parts. And most OEMs can order parts next day delivery for even uncommon items like bumper parts and stuff like that. They can have them next day. So for a car company like Tesla that makes 2 million parts, you can start to see why insurance companies at 7 weeks possible orders for parts are getting a little bit scared about insuring Tesla at a more reasonable price to everybody else. So right now, I'm currently stuck in the Tesla loaner car, which has got no ultrasonic sensors and just vision parking. I'll get more to that in a bit in the end of the video, but let's just talk about insurance companies and why their premiums are higher on Teslas. It's nothing to do with performance. A lot of the cars we've been comparing on these sort of things here have the same performance level as Tesla. It's to do with this part delay. Now, if you have a crash in your car and you have to have a car off your insurance company, a courtesy car, typically they hope to get the car repaired within 1 to 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks turnaround at the absolute maximum, but most cars turn around in a week from the time it is off the road. If a Tesla, though, has a part shortage on a part that's quite common, like a PTC heater, imagine less common parts like bumper parts, grills, stuff like this that are not as common, then that car for that customer could be off the road for several weeks, costing them money in hire, costing the insurance company a lot of lost revenue. It also might even total up to writing your car off, because if the repairs are fairly expensive and it's right to the point of write-off, and they're going to then give you a hire car for 3 to 4 weeks, it may be cheaper for the insurance company to write off the car for just some superficial damage, depending on what it is. I mean, this is just talking about a PTC heater. Imagine it's a longer wait, or imagine they get some of the parts in and then some of them are delayed. It is an insurance company's nightmare. Now, in the US, Tesla have their own insurance company. Now, whether Tesla have control more of their parts to their own self-insured vehicles, I'll let you decide that down below in the comments. But at the moment in the UK, there is no Tesla insurance. So for UK owners, we have to go to the actual market. Now, I've discussed possibly if the also increased insurance price is possibly about gigacasting. See that video up top right. But let's get down to what we think the BMW i4 costs to insure. Now, the BMW i4 is a slightly more powerful performance car, but also a slightly more expensive car than the long range that we had in this example. So if you've not cheated, you should have already written your comment down below, but the actual answer is £600. I'd like to know how many of you got that, because even I was shocked thinking that the BMW i4 would at least be the same prices as Tesla. I wouldn't think it would still be about £300 less. Now, if you're wondering what Vision Plus is like, then check out this video here, because I'm not that sure how good Vision Plus parking is.